Gold made some really interesting moves this past week in the London session, and that was really interesting. And keeping in mind that we do have a couple of fundamental events that will happen over the next couple of weeks, so I expect there to be more volatility inside of the gold market. And in this video, I'm going to cover my entries, my exits, and my profit targets, so that way you know how to prepare yourself for this upcoming week to potentially catch some moves inside of the market. So here is what we have on the charts right now, and basically I'm just going to start with really fresh analysis and, as usual, go on the weekly time frame just so that way we can take a peep at it and just look at what has happened this past week. So the market is now almost closed and we have about 13 minutes left, and we can see right now this candle is forming a very weak bullish candle. Previous week was bearish, so basically you can see that these candles are printing side by side, and basically what that means is that the market is choppy. So it's been looking like this for almost, well, a couple months now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens inside of the market once next week happens with CPI, PPI, and unemployment, and then the following week with FOMC. So very interesting. So from a technical standpoint, let's go ahead and mark off some levels. So we do have this wick above here at roughly 3,500. So let's just go ahead and mark that off, and let's get our yellow boxes here. So next, the other level that I'm going to mark off will be right here at the top of this wick, and this is sitting at 34.32. And then the next level that I want to draw is going to be at this wick, and this is going to be roughly at 34.04. So this week we touched this 3,400 mark but wasn't able to maintain it, and I do want to draw another level, and I want this level to be, this is a little tricky, but for right now we're going to place this right about here, and this is at 33.55. And then the next level is going to be a little bit below, a little tricky. Let's go a little bit further, and we may draw some more zones as we go down to lower time frames and get more information. So this level is sitting at 32.03, and instead of trying to figure stuff out in here, let's go down to the daily time frame. So now we can see those levels that we drew on the weekly time frame. So far, they're looking good. Just want to make a minor adjustment, and that adjustment's going to be right here. Just going to move this down a little bit. Now we're sitting at 34.31, and we're now touching more candles. So I feel a lot better about that level, and going to leave this alone for now. But I am going to draw some more levels to the downside now that we have a bit clearer price action. So right here at 31.69, this is the level that I want to focus on. And ooh, I do see another level. So we're going to draw another level here on the daily time frame, and this is going to be at 32.85. So for right now, this is good. Let's go down to the H4 time frame, and now we see a lot more data, and it's very obvious that this market is super choppy. And if you're learning something at this point, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel so that way you don't miss any other videos like this. If you are tired of missing out on gold, in this blueprint, you're going to get an easy to follow profitable gold trading table, as well as profitable entry levels and strategies. If you've tried to decode things like FOMC, geopolitical events, you may have tried without much success. And in this blueprint, you're also going to master simple strategies that the big players like banks and institutions follow, and then also be able to spot profitable opportunities so that way you could avoid some of the common traps that other traders fall into. And then, of course, you're going to save hours of research with a clear and actionable plan inside of the gold market. Just take a look at what some people are saying about this. So go ahead and grab your copy of the Profitable Gold Market Blueprint today. So getting back to the analysis, I like this level right here. Price was respecting this level quite a bit. And let me see, I think I do want to make an adjustment. So this level right here, I do see a lot of price action within here. So we're going to move this to 33.44. We can see we have a nice support here, and basically price staying above this level. So I definitely want to mark that off and focusing on most recent price action. So this is looking good so far. far, this is looking good. Actually, I can move this up just a little bit. So now this level is sitting at 3206, and we can move this down just a tad bit, but we may make adjustments on lower time frames. Now this is sitting at 3165. Let's go down to H2. All right, so now on the H2 time frame, a lot more data. We can see that we're still in an uptrend, but just choppy price action. So looking at this, I actually do like the way this looks. I just want to move it just a tad bit. Really didn't move it. It's at 33.44 right now. And we do have this bearish price action here. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more when we come to our game plan. And so far, I like this. Let's go down to the H1. Okay, so looking here on the H1 time frame, definitely a lot of chop still, but it's very obvious. So I like this zone within here. I do like this zone here. Let me just look back a little bit. So we got break, retest, retest, break, came back up. And I think I actually want to leave this level alone, but there is a minor level that I do want to mark off. So I'm just going to use my horizontal ray tool, and I'm actually going to start way back here because I do see some resistance at this level. It tapped in and then it rejected. And now we're sitting at 32.46, and just taking a quick look at some of my other levels. Yeah, I like the way this is looking on gold. Let me go back to the top and just see if things are still lining up. So we do have this almost tapping into that level. And if I wanted to, actually, I could just bring this down a little bit. So it's sitting right on top of the most recent high point, and that is sitting at 3,400 flat. Beautiful. All right. So now this is the part where we go into the game plan for this upcoming week, keeping in mind that there are some very volatile news events. So we want to trade cautiously. I've created another community here on School called Consistent Profitable Traders. And if you want to join, you can go to school.com/traders in order to join this free membership. I have a number of things here inside of the community. You can see that the community is growing. There are people being added almost every single day. And then inside of the classroom, I do have some things here. I'm constantly adding new things, new resources for new traders. And if you go over to the calendar, then you'll see that I have a monthly call with everybody inside of this group. So if you want to join this community, go ahead and go to school.com/traders, and I'll see you there. So that is exactly what I'll be doing. So looking at this setup right now here on the H1 time frame, one of the most obvious setups that I see that I actually like taking is a break and retest. So we had this really strong level here, price came down, and I would like for price to retest this level and then potentially continue it down to here. So that will be my trading idea number one. And let's just say if price was to come back up above this 33.43 level and show some bullish signs, then I would be happy to take a buy above here and targeting this previous high right here. And this is, wow, this is a 567 pip move. So if I just wanted to break this up, because I like to do that in my trading, I would possibly target this level at 33.73 as my first profit target. So making this whole zone almost 300 pips. And then if I wanted to extend, if I saw that price action was doing something that made sense to me in that moment, then targeting this previous high like I talked about before. Keeping in mind that there are some areas in here that may cause some issues. So just being cautious and perhaps maybe taking profits early somewhere in here. And of course, continuing that buying all the way up to this next zone for about 300 points, going from 3,400 roughly all the way up to 3,430. That would be a nice zone to trade. So focusing here on the downside again. So this is my idea, this break and retest idea, and then looking at potential profit targets, especially since price broke this level right here where it was maintaining a really strong support and now it's not. So I would be looking for an area possibly in here to target for that break and retest. So perhaps not here initially, but right here. And let's measure this range really quick. So here would be, okay, that's 400 pips. That's a lot of points right there. And then down here would be almost 600 pips. So that would be my initial target right there. And then just to keep this consistent, be looking for sells below there. And looking at the rest of this. So in this area, it's a little interesting. It did come down. So let me go ahead and mark off this level right here where it created some level of support and then pushed up. So for me, I would want to target here and and then potentially here, and then see what price does at this level, because the fact that it bounced off of this level before means that there's a higher probability of it bouncing again in the future, pending a lot of different scenarios inside of the market. So we won't go into all of those, but basically I would just be a little bit cautious here, and then potentially continuing the sells to down to 32.47 kind of zone. If we look to the left, we can see that we did have some price action here in this area several times, and it reacted in the zone. So basically just looking at that. So as far as my game plan for this upcoming week, this is what I'll be looking at. Obviously trading cautiously because we do have some major news events or data releases that are coming up in this next week and the week after that. So if you found this helpful, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, so that way you can catch the rest of the analyses that I post on this channel. Also keeping in mind that currently I post on Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. So make sure you subscribe to get all of those amazing trading nuggets, and I will see you next time.